In my 10 years of being a professional organizer and helping people organize their homes, there is a very real psychological pattern that I have noticed in most of my clients who I go and help. I've dealt with dozens of individuals about their so-called mess and how to be happy in their homes, and I noticed the same thing over and over again that is stopping them from even getting started. My name is Kay, and today we're going to talk about the real reason you can't get organized and how to help yourself get unstuck. The first thing that's stopping you is that you are your own bully. I am absolutely 100% totally guilty of doing this myself, but I often find that when I go visit clients for the first time, I walk in their house and I say, "Hello, I am so happy to be here. Thank you so much for welcoming me to your home." And they often invite me in, and then it starts. "Oh, I'm so sorry for the mess. I meant to clean up before you came. Oh my gosh." And then I say, "Show me the living room, show me the bedroom, show me the closet that I'm here to help you with." And then they open the closet and they go, "I'm so sorry for the way that looks. Oh my gosh, it looks so bad. I'm so embarrassed." So right away, let's break this down. One, they've already apologized for not cleaning up and just having the natural state of things. And two, they've stated that they were embarrassed to have me look at items in their home. And half the time, well, actually most of the time, I have not said anything or have made any facial expressions. And I do have a very good poker face. What I do is I like to walk and I like to get a lay of the land. I'm here to help. I'm not here to judge. And I want to ask you, would you do the same thing at the doctor's office? Let's say you're at the doctor's office, you're complaining about some pain in your neck or something. They examine you, maybe they give you a treatment, and you walk out and you're like, "Oh, thank you so much for helping me. I feel so much better." You don't walk into the doctor's and go, "Well, you know, my neck hurts, but I am so embarrassed for not having worked out last week, and I had McDonald's last night. Ooh, I'm really sorry." No, they're there to help you no matter what you've been doing with your life. Often when we start to examine the state of our homes, if it's disorganized, we start to respond very emotionally, and that's totally understanding. But we tend to start to beat ourselves up even before we've done anything, and that can be very discouraging because instead of thinking about a solution to the problem, we're just busy ruminating on how embarrassed we are and how much we hate ourselves for acquiring all these items and how we haven't organized them, that we don't even want to start. We want to get rid of all those bad emotions. So instead of actually dealing with the problem and trying to find a solution, we just walk away. This cycle has to end in order for you to love your home and in order for it to love you back, frankly. We have absolutely 100% made stuff the enemy. I think the rampant consumerism over the past 40 or 50 years has definitely resulted in the correlation with having a lot of stuff or have stuff in general as being evil. Remember the flex culture we were having? There's been a huge sort of backlash and response, and that response has been minimalism. It is important to recognize that minimalism is both a lifestyle choice and an aesthetic choice, and that these two are not mutually exclusive. We will talk a little bit more about that later. An attempt to free ourselves of all of the things we purchased in the 90s and early 2000s, we somehow along the way also assigned a moral value to items, and this, I think, is a huge mistake. Not only have we assigned a moral value to objects individually, we've assigned a moral value to the amount of objects or possessions that we actually have. Both mainstream media and social media have encouraged this, either unintentionally or intentionally. But I know that when I turn on an episode of Hoarders, when they pan the camera and they look at the hoard, they play like scary music, dramatic music. As a result, I think that we've started to see a clean and organized home as not just a clean and organized home, but a virtue. Ipso facto, if you have a clean and organized home, you are a good person. In turn, if we see a messy and disorganized home, you must be a bad person. I have seen very harsh judgments on social media, people who have shown their homes in a seemingly unacceptable state. Fun fact, a lot of people who have hoarding disorders often are in caregiving careers. They're often the most kind and giving people, and a lot of them acquire items just to give to people as gifts, but somehow along the way that process gets interrupted and they just end up keeping the items. So there's a lot to be said about compassion and dealing with people who have lots of clutter or hoarding disorders, but especially when dealing with yourself. Even worse is the overall subtext of minimalism, which is sometimes, I got rid of all my material possessions and now I only read books and travel the world because that's the stuff that really matters. Right away, this can make you feel unhappy because all of a sudden you've been told that you're superficial, materialistic, and somehow unfulfilled. What is fulfilling to one person may be totally superficial to another. It is an individual thing about what fulfills you and what really matters to you in life. Having a clean and organized home is not a virtue, it is a state. The reality is, stuff is just stuff. It's not necessarily either good or bad, it's just stuff. How many of one individual object you need in your home to be happy or to function is a completely individual experience. None of my business. I'm there to help you come to that conclusion, but it really is none of my business whether you need 10 towels to survive or just one. Home organization is about function, and minimalism as a concept is something I love to practice. It can really help, especially if you suffer from decision fatigue. Decision fatigue is something you know well. If you've ever been to a Cheesecake Factory and have tried to order something off the menu, oh my goodness. Taking away the idea that some items are bad and some items are good can help you make decisions about whether or not the item is serving you or not useful for you anymore, and it can really help you with some of that decision fatigue. Taking away the moral value of items can also make you feel less guilty about the state of your home. If your home is cluttered and you want to change, you just will simply go through the steps you need to change and not place moral judgment on yourself or on the space altogether. Just, it is neutral. So let's talk about minimalism as an aesthetic versus minimalism as a lifestyle choice. People confuse the two all the time, and it may seem like I am kind of dunking on minimalism. I am not. I actually practice minimalism as a sort of everyday functioning and with my clients, but sometimes people confuse the actual lifestyle choice of minimalism with the minimalist aesthetic, which is an actual interior design style in which there is it sounds like what it is. It's simple decorating, not a lot of stuff out, neutral color palette or like more monotone color palette. So there's not a lot of like eye stimulation. It's very zen, very Swedish, very cool. I actually love it. I think it's beautiful. But you can decorate it with a minimalist aesthetic and not be a minimalist. You can have like lots of clutter around and just hide it. And the same is to be said with the other way around. You can be a maximalist decorator and be a minimalist in lifestyle practice. I believe that minimalism as a lifestyle choice is more helpful than thinking about that minimalist aesthetic, which is very beautiful, but is really not going to help you when you are decluttering or making decisions about items in your home. It is a very important part of the decluttering process that I go through with clients. I help them make decisions about, let's talk about the hand towels again. Let's say they have a collection of 30 hand towels and they're taking up a lot of space in the closet. They've collected them over the years and maybe there's a little bit of guilt there with getting rid of them, but they only reach for maybe 5 of them during the entire year and they really could use the space. That's what I'm there for. I'm there to talk them through what could the potential of the space is and what to do with those items once they've left their house. If you can live with 5 hand towels instead of, say, 10 or 20, you may have 5 hand towels and maybe some person out there thinks that's too many, but it may be perfect for you. And by having the amount of items that is perfect for you, you, my friend, are a minimalist. I often see a lot of stuff shaming online when people show either the insides of their homes or the closets, or they'll show a drawer and it has a lot of stuff in it. They'll be like, "Oh my gosh, you have so much stuff." Well, that's frankly none of your business. I do believe that in part the minimalism interior design style has been the interior design style of choice of a lot of online influencers, and it looks very beautiful and it photographs really well. I think that's really the main reason, but it's not something that you have to aspire to. And really, when you're talking about minimalism, you're talking about happiness and functionality in your home. and it's all about relationships. Let's talk about relationships. Dysfunctional relationships are the problem with your stuff, not the stuff. If you've ever wondered why you have trouble getting rid of items or items stress you out, it's because that here's the stuff, here's you. The stuff is, again, we'll talk about it, it's neutral. It doesn't have a moral value. It's not good or bad. It just exists. You are not good or bad. You just kind of are existing. The stuff in between, that's the problem. I am not a therapist, but sometimes I feel like I'm a therapist when I am with a client and I am talking them through the relationship with whatever item that they are having trouble parting with or contemplating letting go. You can have a great relationship with an item in your home. For example, let's talk about this little sloth propagation tube. I love him. I got him for my birthday this year. I bought him for myself from a plant shop. And I am absolutely obsessed with this. It doesn't really have any purpose besides looking amazing and we're propagating a little plant in here, but I love it. And the relationship between this and me, it's healthy. We're good. But something else that maybe I've been passing by and saying, oh man, I don't use that. I haven't used that, but I feel guilty because I paid, $300 for it. That relationship, that's toxic. You don't need that in your life. And I totally understand that sometimes when you come across items, they can trigger memories about a happier time or a time when you were different. And here's where I'm going to give you a little organizer tough love. You have to live for the person you are right now. I'm not saying you can't have memories. I'm not saying you can't be sentimental. We are all sentimental. I am actually a human. I'm not an android. I do have memories and I have a sentimental box full of memories, which I go through and I look at every once in a while. But items that are not serving me, that are causing me stress, I'm deeming as clutter, they really have to go because I want to live for the person I am right now. A lot of happiness in my own space has actually been inspired by getting a dog. The way that he approaches every day has really inspired me and really made me rethink what it is to be happy. He lives in the present almost all the time. He's not thinking about what he did yesterday. He wakes up and he's so excited to face the new day with enthusiasm, curiosity, and I was like, he's got it on lockdown. He's not playing with a toy because it's the same toy he had since he was a puppy. He grabs a toy because it's the most fun toy of the pile. And I want to do the same thing with my home. I want to pick all the things in my home that I have the most fun with. And, the stuff that I need, like underwear stuff, toilet paper, all that stuff. In 2010, I was very fortunate to coach with a really, really amazing musician at Vancouver Early Music Festival, and I kept apologizing for my bad vocal technique and my less than stellar French, and he stopped me during my aria and he said, do you know what's holding you back, Kay? Go in the bathroom and look in that mirror. That has stayed with me ever since, and I encourage you to treat yourself with the most kindness you can muster. There is so much negativity coming from outside, social media. You don't need it coming from inside as well. One of my favorite ways to treat myself with kindness and to practice self-care is to learn new skills. I learn so much on Skillshare, so thank you so much for sponsoring today's video. Skillshare is an online learning community where millions come together to take the next step in their creative journey with thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people. I am very curious on topics including entrepreneurship, cooking, interior design, plan keeping, photography, and cinematography and Final Cut Pro and stuff. And I am obsessed with making a very good month-long of vlogs for you in Vlogtober. So I started out my journey in learning more by taking this class in cinematography by Ryan Booth. It was incredibly helpful. I had no idea what a key light is. I'm gonna buy a gimbal. I'm also going to buy some stuff to shade light and play with natural light. I learned so much and I'm super excited to film Vlogtober for you all. And I learned all this on Skillshare. It's amazing. Skillshare is also incredibly affordable when compared to in-person classes and workshops. The The first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare, so you can start exploring your creativity today, right now. Do it right now. Thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video and supporting creative entrepreneurs everywhere. If you liked this video and are interested in more organizing concepts that are cerebral and give you some things to think about, there's a video on clutter that I made a few years ago. It's still really relevant. Please go and watch it if you want, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.